everyone, it's Shel C from PaperOcotilloStudio, and today I'm sharing with you a springtime, globe-spanning, international mail art collaboration. This is 4 artists, 3 others including mine, one from Finland, one from Switzerland, and another one from the United States. And we decided to send each other a mixed media background on a 4x6 postcard, and then each of us received 3 other postcards, which we then completed doing the focal images and whatever else we wanted to it, so that it became a collaborative piece of mail art because it's a postcard and 2 artists collaborated on each piece. Now, in my video, you'll only see 2 completed postcards because I did not receive the 3rd one from Finland because I had to go out of town and I didn't get here before I left for my trip. So I'm actually on a trip right now. You don't know, but I am on a trip right now. I had to get this video done before I left, so I don't have the other card. So you will see another video where I will complete that card and also the extra one that I made for myself. So what I'm doing here is making my backgrounds that I sent to the other people, and I'm using my gel plate and some DIY and Décor paint from Corp brands. The 4 of us were spending time together at Creativation in the Corp brands booth, and we're all on the design team for that company. And so I figured I would pay homage to Corp brands by doing my postcard using their paint. Their paint is this paint is kind of like a chalk paint, sort of, for doing really cool outdoor, indoor furniture projects and stuff like that. But it works absolutely beautifully on the gel plate. So I'm doing my kind of add and take away technique that you've seen me do before. I know there's been a lot of gel plating this month, and it will continue on into April. I'm adding different colors of paint. There is kind of a terracotta color, a buttery yellow, a kind of a mossy green, and then a slate blue. And I'm adding them to the plate with my 2-inch sprayer, removing some with different things like stencils or homemade mark making tools, and then putting another layer of paint on the top to pull it all off. And I made a background on cardstock, which is what the postcard is made out of, and then I made some other ones, including crusty bit plates, pieces where I was picking up crusty bits off the plate on lightweight copy paper. So then now what I'm doing is taking those extra pieces that I plan to collage with and cutting them with some dies that look like flowers. This is our springtime collaboration. We plan on having one for the fall, the winter, and the summer as well. So I'm going with spring colors, spring theme, which to me means flowers. You just can't go wrong with flowers. So then I'm taking some archival inks that are in the same colors, basically the same tones and colors as the paints that I used, and doing a little bit of texture stamping over the top. This is a French script stamp, and then I'm also using those archival inks to sponge around the edges using a mini ink blender applicator thingamajigger. And I did different colors on each one. They kind of turned out a little bit different, even though they're all from the same piece, but that's how monoprinting goes. Some have more of that terracotta color, and some have more of the green, and some have more of the slate blue. So I edged the different ones depending on what I thought it called for. And I'm using my craft mat there to help me blend, like you do. That's a Ranger one, a smaller Ranger one. And just kind of like bringing the ink in from the edges and then, dragging it in and making a nice soft edging around all the postcards. I like it when things have borders around the edges. You know this about me. Either I layer a paper or else I sponge it or I do something. But these are postcards, so they're intended to be able to be written on the back, with an address and a little message, and then sent at the very least expensive postage. So that's kind of what they are, is little beautiful postcards. The problem with making beautiful art postcards and beautiful art mail art envelopes, and this is just my personal opinion, sometimes they just don't show up. I think they like them and they keep them. Or maybe they get eaten in machines because they have too much stuff on them. I don't know. But now I'm taking my little cutout pieces that I cut out from all the other lightweight copy paper prints that I made at the same time, and using these Sizzix dies that look kind of like wildflowers and sprigs and things like that. I think they're really cool. I got them for Christmas from a friend, and I just really think they're pretty darn awesome. I haven't used them that much, but I've used them a little bit. They also make a really cool stencil if you cut them out of the middle of a piece of paper. So I am collaging them onto my backgrounds using Liquitex Fluid Matte Medium. And I also had used a wildflower stamp to stamp a little bit as well in the background. So I'm just trying to build up a interesting floral background, kind of leaving the center of the postcard free for the next artist to put something on it, because that's what they're going to do. So I hope that when you are finished with my video and you give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment, that you will click in the description box below and go visit all the links to the other videos, because that's what this mail art collaboration video hop thing is all about. Okay, so now I'm showing you the two that I received. One, this one with all the nice papers in other languages and music papers and really cool, interesting vintage stuff, is from Bea Grob from Switzerland. And then the other one that I showed you is from Linda Israel, who lives in Arkansas, I think. I think it's Arkansas. Wow, if I get that wrong, she's going to be mad, but I can't go look because I'm editing the video. So this is Linda's. She did an interesting background with, it looks like a stencil, and I believe she also used Canvas Corp brands paints to do her background, because I remember her mentioning it in the little conversation that we have. But I knew what I was going to do with it. I wanted to use some new stamps that I got from Tuesday morning. Do I need more stamps? Of course not. I don't need more stamps. I draw most of my stuff. I like to draw. But when the stamp set is like $2.99 and it comes with a die, you can't resist. You just can't resist. So these are some new springtime stamp sets that I got. One of them is from the Bow Bunny Company, and the other two are from Sizzix and I think I forget which company, Spellbinders, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, the ones with the dies are Sizzix dies with little stamps. Maybe it's Hampton Art. I think it's Hampton Art. Anyway, I'll put all that stuff in the description box below, like I always do. There is a possibility that since these were at Tuesday morning, which is a clearance place, that they might be discontinued. That's the thing about going there. It doesn't matter to most people because they're not the ones who have to try to look up the product and list it in the description box below. But for me, it's a little bit tricky when something's discontinued. So I'm using my different acrylic mounts. These are cling silicone stamps, obviously. And I used a little mask at the bottom to stamp some flowers. I started out with Bea's background, and it has some really interesting and kind of shiny and shimmery I think it's tissue paper that's kind of been collaged on the edges, and then it has stitching all the way around, like machine stitching. It's a cool background. And so the places that I'm placing the flowers, I don't want to try to go over that textural area because the stamping won't do well over that. So I'm avoiding it. And in one situation right there, I had to mask off some of the stamp in order to just ink up the two flowers so that I wouldn't get the third one that would hit that textural area on the background. So then I'm going to be doing paper piecing, because you know I love to do paper piecing, and I'm using some gel prints. These are ones that I've been making all through the month of March, and what I did was just look for colors that I needed and not so much what the print was about. So some of them are crusty bit prints. You know how I love those. Some of them are on tissue paper or napkins, like the leftover bits of napkins when you separate. So they're difficult to cut out. But I'm going to be cutting out little pieces and collaging and piecing them all together. And the reason that I wanted to do this, other than I wanted to use my new stamps, I just wanted to use them because they're so cute. And Easter's coming on April 1st, which is also April Fool's Day, which is very strange. But anyway, I wanted to show you that even if you can't draw, or you don't think you can draw, I know you can all draw. But if you, for some reason, believe that you can't do that, you can certainly use your stamps and just cut, stamp images on different pieces of paper and cut around things and do a paper piecing type of a collage yourself so easily. So easily. It takes time, sure. And about the cutting and the time it takes to cut, you say, well, these stamped images, I could just color them. Why would I do that? When you look at the close-ups at the end, you will see that there is no possible way that with coloring you could get the interesting pattern and texture that you get from a gel print. You just can't do it. I mean, sure, they'll look really cute colored, and at some point I will color them, with some alcohol markers or something and some blending and all that. That's awesome, and a lot of people love to do that. But to get the look that I'm getting here, the paper painted, paper pieced, collage-y look that I'm getting, you got to use the collage papers. That's just the only way to do it. And so it's a little fussy and it's a little time consuming, but it's awesome. And it looks hand done. It looks artistic, and it looks like you really made an effort. So I recommend it. I think, I love doing this. Of course, I cut out the parts where I did extensive amounts of fussy cutting because nobody wants to watch that on video. Besides, I needed to shrink down this video because with the backgrounds at the beginning and the finishing, it's a good thing I only had 2 postcards, not 3, because there's no way I could have fit it anywhere in within 20 minutes. So I didn't make you watch me do most of the cutting. I did show you, like, when I was doing the chickie and the egg, I stamped the chickie with the egg on a couple different papers. I cut them apart, and, I have yellow paper that has the chicken and then the pink paper that has the egg, and I put those two together, so that's interesting. But then I cut out all the little flowers from other papers, which I had to then stamp. So you need to stamp on several different papers to get all the pieces that you need. And then the same thing with the flowers. I cut out all the flowers from different colors and the little baby eggs. It's a lot of fun. If you mess up on your cutting, or there's a spot there where maybe you cut too much of the black line off, you can just take your illustration pen and just go and fix it. So or if there's a place that it didn't stamp clearly, you can fix that too, just with your pen. So no need to worry about that. To do my finishing, I'm using my Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Brush pen set, which has a lot of different colors. And these are India ink, and so I have a few seconds to blend it. And I'm using that for a little bit of shading, color on color shading. So, a darker yellow on the chickie, and this light green all the way around all the different pieces to make a shadow, which to me really makes a difference on collaging. It helps your pieces all look integrated, like you didn't just glue those on there. They're not just glued on there. They're like integrated into the background. I also used a white Posca pen to add some highlights. And on this particular one, I put some stickles in the dot, just like dotted some stickles, glitter glue into the centers of the flowers. But I don't think that's on camera. I think I ended up cutting that part out for some reason. I snipped and sped and all different things to this video, so I don't see it, but it was at the very end, and I'm not even sure you can see it in the pictures either, but it's just a little tiny bit of sparkle in the centers because there is a bit of sparkle or shimmer paint on this card. which is I know is very hard to see on the video, and the colors are very muted on the video. So for Linda's background, I'm doing a similar thing with the same stamp sets, but just a little bit different. The color of her card is a lot more muted. Plus, I put some gesso on the top part. I left the bottom, that little bottom section, which will be the ground, you know, for the flowers to grow out of. They need a ground. You know, I hate it when things don't have grounds. But I put a little bit of gesso over the top part because it was so busy that I thought it would be too much. So I muted it down a little bit. Plus the colors are kind of, I don't know, country colors? I mean, that's what they used to be called in the back in the day, like country blue, and that was really popular there for a while. I don't know. I'm not sure what colors they exactly are, but they're just a more muted tone. So I'm using different papers, and I'm also using a couple archival inks. Instead of just the black, I'm using the green and the blue that match these sort of colors or are the same tone. And even though it's not as bright and colorful as the other one, it still is very spring, even though it's got a more muted feel to it. So for this chickie, he has a striped egg. And so I stamped it on so many different pieces of paper that you just can't even believe it. And then I cut each individual little stripe and glued it on. So you'll see me doing that. I left that in the video, even though it's kind of repetitive. I wanted you to see what I did and how I did it to make it look like that. Because when you look up close, there's all this different, you know, like the purple has a little bit of green flecks in it, and the yellow has some orange in it. You just can't do this any other way. This is the look I was going for, the look I'm interested in, this mixed media, collage-y, interesting look that I love. It's my favorite. It's just my favorite. And you got to have your crusty bits. Hashtag crusty bits. It's a thing. So I'm using this iCraft mixed media glue that I actually got at Creativations, and it's from Thermoweb company. Really good stuff. I'm really enjoying it. I like the applicator. Makes it super easy for this type of little gluing. You know, I can get the glue exactly where I need it to be. But of course, I'm gonna collage all this with matte medium at the end. But for little pieces that need to be glued to other pieces, they're all going to get sealed in anyway. So there's no reason for me to try to make, you know, these little tiny centers that I cut out get on there with the matte medium. It would be too difficult. Of course, they're sticking to my fingers and making me mad. Plus, the pink, both of the pinks and the yellow are on a one-ply napkin that I gel printed during the tissue day. I don't know if that's passed yet or not, but yeah, it has. It has passed, I think. So you would have seen the big pile of tissue stuff that I made on Instagram. Oh, stop sticking to my fingers. That's what I keep saying. My fingers are sticky and they keep sticking and pulling them back off. So I hope you're enjoying this, and be sure to go and check out the other ladies' videos. They will be interesting, I promise. I've only seen one so far because I've got to go out of town. I'm leaving in 3 hours and I haven't even packed. I had to get this done beforehand and get it scheduled so that it would come out at the right time. So here I am with my small tip bullet tip pit pen, making sure that the lines are good, fixing any place that it got a little bit messed up, and then using my other Fabric-Castell pit pens, the brush ones, to do some coloring and shading and highlighting and all those things. And drawing in stems when there aren't stems. I did stamp all the stems to these flowers. These flowers had heads that were separate from the stems. The ones I used on the first card were like 3 little flowers on stems already. So they're slightly different, but the same. And I absolutely love the chick hatching out of the egg. That is just so cute. So stinking cute. I don't know who I'm going to send these to. I don't really have any like little kids to send them to or anything. They would be cute if I had little kids. And I don't. But not yet. I will eventually. They will be grandkids. But right now I just have pesky teenagers. Yeah, I think this video is almost done. Oh yes, I was looking for the right color to do the shadowing around the edges, and I finally ended up with a gray, which I wanted a blue, but I couldn't find the right blue. They were all too light. And that one flower is actually purple, even though it looks gray. It's not gray. It's just the video. So that is it for me, and be sure to watch everyone else's videos. Bye-bye.